You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
Ricky Ponting said that the Indian cricket team wouldn't be able to pick up at the Border-Gavaskar Test series after the Adelaide loss against Australia. Michael Vaughan said India was going to get hammered. Michael Clarke said India was going to be in deep trouble without Virat Kohli. But in the face of all the odds, India won the highly coveted Border-Gavaskar trophy, and how? Despite broken bones and some top players missing in the Test series, India scripted history with a 3-wicket win in the fourth and final Test against Australia, thereby clinching the Border-Gavaskar series 2-1. And also, may I add, broke a number of records on the way. Now, why is this win so historic for India? What makes it so special? And how can this game change India's team? In this episode, you'll hear from Ayaz Memon, a sports journalist and the co-host for Quint's Aussie Challenge podcast, and Chandresh Narayanan, also a sports journalist, and of course, some great cricket fans. You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect headline-making news for you, and I'm your host, Himmat. On the final Test against Australia, which took place on 19 January, India scored 336 runs in their first innings in reply to Australia's 369. The visitors then bowled out Australia for 294 in the second innings, thus setting themselves a target of 328. Now chasing this bigger target, especially at Brisbane's Gabba, a stadium where Australia has not tasted defeat in 32 years, it was the brilliant half-centuries of Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant and Cheteshwar Pujara that led India to the victory. The Aussie host had won the first Test of the series in Adelaide while bowling out India with a pink ball for the lowest Test total of 36. The Rahane-led side, however, registered a stunning comeback in Melbourne, winning the Boxing Day Test by 8 wickets. The third Test then ended in an epic draw in Sydney. When India scored the winning runs, Pant was unbeaten on 89 alongside Navdeep Saini at 0. For cricket fans, this is likely to be one of the most cricketing moments that we talked about for years and years. And of course, some good old cricket superstitions kicked in while watching this nail-biting match. Daya Sagar, a fan, says he's speechless.
शब्द नहीं है मतलब क्या कहा जाए। कल जब मैच जिस एंड पे ख़त्म हुआ था लग रहा था, क्योंकि कल बारिश का भी अनुमान बताया जा रहा था, तो मुझे लगा कि इंडिया ड्रा के लिए खेलेगा। लेकिन आज जिस तरह का इंटेंस शुरू में पहले शुभमन गिल ने दिखाया, फिर अजिंक्य रहाणे ने जो फिर छक्का मारा, फिर ऐसा बॉल खेल के आउट हुए तो लगा कि मैच फिर से हाथ से जा रहा है या ड्रॉ होगा। अगर मैच ड्रॉ भी होता तभी बॉर्डर-गावस्कर ट्रॉफी रिटेन रहती। लेकिन क्या गजब का खेला है पंत ने, और साथी लोग जो साथी थे उनके बल्लेबाज, उन्होंने भी काफ़ी अच्छा जो दृढ़ता दिखाते हैं उन्होंने दिखाया है, और यह लाजवाब है। मतलब इस जीत को शब्दों में बयां करना मुश्किल है।
Abhi Deb, another fan, says he'll forever remember the experience of watching this match.
Kept sitting the way you were sitting, you kept holding the phone you were holding and hoping that a wicket does not fall. So that was the experience of watching this match live, right through this match and the previous match as well. In fact, throughout the series, every day I woke up in the morning thinking that this just might be it. India's luck, India's grit might just have run its course, and today Australia will get away and go away with the series. But that was the special part of this entire series, that every day someone or the other from the Indian camp put up their hand and said that, okay, today I'm going to do it for you. And that is why it's very difficult to single out any particular player, saying that he was the main man. And I think that is why this victory is one for the ages. This will be remembered for many, many more years to come.
Now, speaking of the number of records broken over the past 70 years, although teams have made bigger fourth innings score at the Gabba, no team has chased a fourth innings target to win a game. Importantly, as I've said, no team had beaten Australia in Brisbane in the last 32 years. Wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant also surpassed MS Dhoni's record as the fastest Indian wicketkeeper to complete 1,000 Test runs. Fast bowler T. Netarajan also made history by finding 3 wickets for just 78 runs in the first innings, the second best figure in a debut testing innings by a left-arm pacer. Winning any series is important and triumphant, but according to Ayaz Memon, this is India's greatest ever Test series win.
Well, winning the series is obviously winning any series is important. When you win overseas, it gets even more heightened or highlighted because most teams excel at home and struggle overseas. India did beat Australia in 2018, the first time ever in 70 years. So that gives an idea of how difficult it is to win series overseas. But this time, what was special was Australia were at full strength, unlike in 2018 when Steve Smith and David Warner were missing. So this was a full strength Australian team. Then India lost the first test match and lost it very badly, being bowled out for 36. So to recover from that trauma so quickly, and then losing players like Virat Kohli and Mohammad Shami after the first match, subsequently Ravindra Jadeja, Ravi Ashwin, Jasprit Bumrah, Hanuma Vihari, Umesh Yadav. So by the time the series reached the fourth test match, the final test match, this was a very depleted Indian team with the bowling, especially almost in the hands of rookies. Now from that situation to win the match and a seesaw struggle, the kind of the way the pendulum swung one way or the other, either team could have won till the last half hour. To bring out that kind of a victory was, I think, sensational, heroic, incredible. One can keep using all kinds of adjectives, but I'll just define it by this statement that this was India's greatest ever Test series win.
Now, the kind of performance that we got to witness in this match, despite broken bones and some talented players being unavailable, will this game change India's team? According to Chandresh, this team performance will certainly rekindle India's interest in Test cricket format.
This win is going to be a big, huge shot in the arm for Test cricket in India. And I can tell you this for a fact, that guys who had lost interest in the sport have once again rekindle their interest in the sport because of this test series. We can't even imagine the kind of impact this has had on the generation before this generation and the generation even before that, because they're all glued on to the televisions now and they are watching this test series and cricket once again.
Now, the kind of players who will be remembered through time for making this win possible is not one but several, especially heavy hitters like Rishabh Pant, Ajinkya Rahane and Shubman Gill. Chandresh has gone so far to say that Gill is a future Indian captain material.
Shubman Gill, according to me, is a superstar in the making. I have a lot of time for Shubman Gill because of the fact that he simply oozes class when he's out there batting. His language, his approach, his batting, he's correct while we are watching him play. And he's simply outstanding. I have gone so far as to say that he is a future India captain material. I am going to stick my neck out and say that Shubman Gill is going to be India's captain in the future.
Now, coming to India's performance in the series, the host did win the first test match. However, India's win will have consequences on Tim Paine's captaincy. According to Chandresh, the time has come for Australia to look beyond Paine in Test cricket.
I think I agree with what Mr. Sunil Gavaskar said after the third test match, that Tim Paine has to be sacked as the captain. I think the time has come for Australia to look beyond Tim Paine in Test cricket. Australia had this unwritten rule that we will name our best player as our captain in any format. So in that sense, I think that time has come for Australia to go back to Steve Smith as Australia's Test captain, or even Pat Cummins, because Pat Cummins has been their best performer in this series with the ball. And I think that it is absolutely essential that Australia effect that change now. You can't keep Alex Carey, the white ball keeper, out of contention for any longer, in my view, in test matches, because Alex Carey, for good or for worse, is as good a performer with the bat, if not better. And I think that Tim Paine's holding role in Australia's Test cricket history is over.
India's fantastic performance in this series, and especially this nail-biting finale, will bring back the zeal for Test cricket into Indian homes again.
If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We'll have on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.